Mr. Muhammad, I want to take your attention back to June of 2009. At that time, where did you work?
For Michael Jackson, sir.
Okay. And what did you do for Michael Jackson in June 2009?
I worked security for him, security.
Michael Jackson was involved with P. Diddy, and the footage that has leaked is startling. Kanye West claims P. Diddy was the real reason behind Michael Jackson's tragic death. These claims have resurfaced, stirring the pot of long-standing conspiracy theories surrounding the music industry. The revival of this controversy coincides with a new lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs, reigniting questions about the hidden forces at play in the music world. The connection between Diddy and Michael Jackson might seem tenuous at first glance, but as we dive deeper into the story, you'll find a web of relationships and incidents that suggests something far more sinister than what initially meets the eye. We will be revealing alleged startling footage of Michael Jackson and P. Diddy in this video. But first we need to take a look at the mysterious death of Michael Jackson. Let's begin by revisiting the puzzling circumstances surrounding Michael Jackson's untimely death on June 25, 2009. Michael, known as the King of Pop, was found unconscious in his Los Angeles mansion. His personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, was at the scene. But what unfolded that day has since been the subject of endless speculation and investigation. The night before, on June 24, 2009, Dr. Murray administered a mixture of medications to help Jackson sleep. Despite his best efforts, Michael remained awake. In the early morning hours of June 25th, Dr. Murray resorted to administering propofol, a potent anesthetic that is usually reserved for use in surgical settings. This was a risky and unconventional decision, as propofol requires careful monitoring and equipment not typically available outside of a hospital. Dr. Murray claims that this finally put Michael to sleep. However, when Murray left the room for a short bathroom break, he returned to find Michael unresponsive with a faint pulse. Murray attempted to revive Jackson by performing CPR for about 10 minutes and administering flumazenol, a drug used to counteract the effects of sedatives. Oddly, however, a 911 call was not placed until 12:21 p.m., almost an hour and a half after Jackson was found unconscious. This delay has been a major point of contention and suspicion. Paramedics arrived and continued CPR for an additional 42 minutes before transporting Michael to the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center. Despite their efforts, Michael Jackson was pronounced dead at 2:26 p.m. The official autopsy report cited acute propofol intoxication as the cause of death, ruling it a homicide. This immediately put Dr. Murray in the spotlight as the person responsible. Investigations revealed that Dr. Murray had used a non-standard CPR technique and that he had kept a stash of propofol in Michael's home, actions that were deemed highly unprofessional. Consequently, Dr. Murray was charged with involuntary manslaughter and sentenced to 4 years in prison. Yet despite this conviction, many of Michael Jackson's fans and some of his family members have remained convinced that Murray was merely a pawn in a much larger, more complex scheme designed to silence the pop star permanently. Michael Jackson's feud with the music industry and Diddy. To fully understand why so many people believe Michael Jackson's death was not a simple case of medical malpractice, we need to explore his contentious relationship with the music industry, particularly Sony Music and its then CEO, Tommy Mottola. Michael was not just a talented musician, but also a savvy businessman. In the 1980s, he acquired a significant portion of Sony's music catalog, which included the rights to songs by artists like the Beatles. This acquisition was an unprecedented move for an artist, giving Michael enormous power and leverage within the industry. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, Michael was openly feuding with Sony. He accused the company of exploiting artists and suppressing his own music. He even took to the streets, holding protests against Sony, and famously called Mottola the devil. In one of his speeches, he said, "I've generated several $1 billion for Sony. They thought that my mind was always on music and dancing, but they never imagined that I would outthink them. I own half of Sony's publishing, and now I'm leaving them, and they're very angry at me because of it." Jackson's bold moves and confrontational stance against one of the most powerful entities in the music industry made him a target, according to his family and fans. His sister, LaToya Jackson, has repeatedly claimed that Michael's valuable music catalog was the motive for his murder. In her words, Michael knew someone was after him. He knew that everything that was happening to him was not kosher, it wasn't right, and it disturbed him greatly. The role of AEG Live in Dr. Murray's suspicious hiring. In the months leading up to his death, Michael Jackson was preparing for his This Is It tour, which was meant to be his grand comeback. The tour was being organized by AEG Live, one of the world's leading entertainment companies. It was AEG Live that brought Dr. Conrad Murray onto Michael's team in May 2009. While AEG claimed that Michael personally requested Dr. Murray, it later surfaced that AEG had independently hired him, and Michael never signed the employment contract. This revelation added another layer of suspicion, leading many to question whether Michael had any real control over the situation, or if he was being manipulated by powerful forces within the industry. The Jackson family subsequently sued AEG Live, arguing that the company had negligently hired Dr. Murray and pushed Michael to the brink. During the trial, Michael's son, Prince, testified that his father was under immense pressure, and he often heard him say, "They're going to kill me." Despite this compelling testimony, the jury ultimately ruled in favor of AEG Live, stating that they were not responsible for Michael's death. However, this verdict did little to convince Michael's supporters, who believed that a broader conspiracy was at play. Kanye West and Harley Pasternak, a parallel story. The recent resurgence of these theories can be attributed in large part to Kanye West, who has been remarkably candid about his own troubling experiences with Hollywood and the broader music industry. Kanye shocked the world when he disclosed that his former personal trainer, Harley Pasternak, attempted to have him institutionalized. At the time, Kanye's claims were largely dismissed by the public and the media, with many attributing his statements to another episode of what was perceived as his erratic behavior. However, this narrative took a dramatic turn when it was later uncovered that Harley Pasternak had a rather unexpected background. He was a former intelligence agent for the Canadian military. This revelation changed the context of Kanye's story entirely, prompting a widespread reevaluation of the situation. Suddenly, what many had dismissed as the paranoid delusions of a troubled celebrity started to seem more like a cautionary tale of control and manipulation, possibly orchestrated by hidden forces operating behind the scenes of the entertainment industry. Kanye's revelations opened the floodgates for discussions about so-called handlers within the entertainment world. These are individuals who, according to various theories, are strategically placed in the lives of celebrities to monitor, control, and influence them. The idea is that these handlers work on behalf of powerful and secretive organizations with vested interests in maintaining the status quo and suppressing dissent or controversy. The notion that Hollywood and the music industry might harbor such operatives has long been a topic of speculation, but Kanye's story gave this idea a new level of credibility. It suggested that these handlers were not just conspiracy theory fodder, but could very well be real players in a complex power dynamic. In Kanye's case, he insinuated that Pasternak's role in his life was not merely that of a personal trainer, but someone tasked with ensuring Kanye's compliance with certain industry expectations. He implied that when he resisted, Pasternak's response was to threaten institutionalization, a move that could effectively silence him by labeling him as mentally unstable. Kanye has gone as far as to suggest that had he complied with Pasternak's demands, his fate might have eerily mirrored that of Michael Jackson's. This raises a chilling implication, that there may be powerful entities within the industry capable of permanently silencing those who become too outspoken, too independent, or too disruptive to the interests of those who hold power. Kanye's situation, particularly in light of Pasternak's intelligence background, has led many to consider that he might have been at risk of being handled in a very deliberate and calculated manner. The sudden reframing of Kanye's experiences opened up a broader conversation about how certain celebrities seem to follow a pattern of reaching a pinnacle of success, only to suddenly spiral into public breakdowns, legal troubles, or even untimely deaths. It has caused a segment of the public to revisit past incidents with new eyes, wondering if there might be more to these stories than what was initially reported. Could Kanye have narrowly avoided the fate that befell Michael Jackson, who, towards the end of his life, was increasingly vocal about feeling targeted and fearing for his safety? By speaking out, Kanye may have lifted the veil on a shadowy aspect of the entertainment industry, one that involves surveillance, control, and, in some cases, the permanent silencing of those who refuse to fall in line. This idea resonates with the recurring theme that has haunted Hollywood for decades: the notion that fame comes with a price, and for some, that price might be their freedom, their sanity, or even their lives. The Kanye West-Harley Pasternak incident thus serves as a modern-day echo of the suspicions surrounding Michael Jackson's demise, suggesting that these are not isolated events, but rather parts of a larger, more complex narrative about power and control in the entertainment industry. Enter Fahim Muhammad, the enigmatic security chief. This brings us to Fahim Muhammad, a figure whose name has been brought to light in the recent lawsuit against Diddy filed by producer Rodney "Lil Rod" Jones. Fahim Muhammad was Diddy's chief of security, but his connections extend far beyond Diddy's inner circle. According to Lil Rod's lawsuit, Fahim acted as a crucial link between Diddy and law enforcement, helping Diddy run what Lil Rod described as a criminal enterprise without interference from the authorities. The lawsuit states, Mr. Jones made it clear that his head of security, Fahim Muhammad, had the power to make people and problems disappear. But here's where things take a darker turn. Fahim Muhammad was also Michael Jackson's head of security at the time of his death. Fahim testified during Dr. Murray's trial, revealing that he was hired as Michael's chief of security just 10 months before Michael's death. At the time of his hiring, Fahim was only 20 or 21 years old and had just graduated from Sacramento State University with a degree in business administration. This raises a critical question. Why would the king of pop, a global superstar who had faced numerous threats and controversies throughout his career, entrust his security to a young and seemingly inexperienced individual? Social media investigator Ian Carroll, who has been researching the connections between Diddy, Fahim Muhammad, and Michael Jackson, suggests that someone else might have orchestrated Fahim's appointment. For most of Michael Jackson's career, his head of security was Bill Bray, a trusted confidant and father figure to Michael. Bill Bray managed Jackson's security until his retirement at age 70, and Michael continued to support him financially until his death. After Bray retired, other security personnel came and went, and Michael eventually ended up with Fahim Muhammad, a man with direct ties to Diddy and a reputation for making problems disappear. Fahim Muhammad's possible ties to intelligence agencies. Digging deeper into Fahim's background, Ian Carroll uncovered more unsettling information. Fahim was invited as a speaker at the Wharton School, an institution frequently associated with individuals linked to intelligence agencies such as the CIA and FBI. While this could be seen as a mere coincidence, it raises eyebrows given Fahim's age and relatively limited experience. Why would an individual who had only recently graduated college be invited to speak at a prestigious institution like Wharton? Moreover, why was this individual put in charge of the security of the world's most famous musician during a time when he was arguably at his most vulnerable? Carroll's findings led to a wave of speculation on social media. Many now suspect that Fahim was more than just a security chief, that he might have been a handler similar to what Kanye West described in his experiences with Harley Pasternak. One comment on Carroll's video pointed out another curious detail. 1. Other coincidence is that Tommy Mottola sold his home on Star Island, Miami Beach to P. Diddy. This connection between Mottola, Diddy, and Fahim further complicates the narrative, suggesting a network of relationships that could point to a coordinated effort to control or eliminate Michael Jackson. The bigger picture: celebrity control and industry power dynamics. The stories of Michael Jackson and Kanye West, while unique in their specifics, share common themes that have long been whispered about in the entertainment industry. These themes revolve around control, exploitation, and the lengths to which powerful entities will go to maintain their influence. Celebrities who amass not just fame, but also power, whether through ownership of valuable assets like Michael Jackson's music catalog, or through their ability to shape public opinion like Kanye West, seem to find themselves under increasing scrutiny and pressure from those who wish to control them. In Michael's case, his public feud with Sony and Tommy Mottola put him on a collision course with some of the industry's most powerful figures. His acquisition of half of Sony's music catalog was a bold move that not only granted him financial power, but also disrupted the status quo within the music industry. Michael's willingness to speak out against Sony, accuse them of exploitation, and challenge their practices made him a threat that needed to be neutralized, according to some theories. Kanye West's situation, though different in many respects, echoes the same underlying conflict. Kanye has never been one to shy away from speaking his mind, even when his opinions put him at odds with industry norms or the expectations of those around him. His outspoken nature, combined with his substantial influence and creative control, made him a target for those who prefer to keep high-profile figures within well-defined boundaries. Kanye's claims about Harley Pasternak and the subsequent revelation of Pasternak's intelligence background added a layer of credibility to the idea that powerful forces within the industry have mechanisms in place to control or silence those who defy them. The unsettling parallels and the implications for the music industry. Given the new details that have come to light, fans and conspiracy theorists alike are drawing unsettling parallels between the treatment of Michael Jackson and Kanye West. Both artists were vocal critics of the industry and expressed fears of being targeted or silenced. Michael Jackson's ominous notes, which were reportedly found in the weeks leading up to his death, included statements like, "They are trying to murder me," and "the system wants to kill me for my catalog." These notes, combined with his public accusations against Sony and Mottola, painted a picture of a man who felt he was under siege by forces far more powerful than any individual. Kanye West has similarly expressed fear for his life, suggesting that he too was targeted by powerful individuals within the industry. He hinted at being Michael Jacksoned, a term that has come to symbolize the silencing or elimination of an outspoken artist who poses a threat to the industry's established order. Was Michael Jackson silenced, and did Kanye West dodge a bullet? So, what are we left with after examining these events? We're faced with a narrative densely populated by shadowy figures, eerie coincidences, and a pattern of behavior that hints at a systematic effort to control or even eliminate individuals who challenge the established power structures of the entertainment industry. The involvement of Fahim Muhammad in Michael Jackson's final days, coupled with his subsequent role as Diddy's head of security, raises critical questions about his true role and the potentially powerful forces he represents. How did a young man with no prior high-level security experience find himself in such a position of influence within the lives of two of the music industry's most prominent figures? This situation is particularly unsettling when considering the context. Both Michael Jackson and Kanye West had openly criticized and defied the industry's established norms and practices. Could it be that Michael Jackson was silenced because he became a significant threat to the industry's status quo? After all, Michael was not just an artist. He was a vocal critic of industry practices and had taken substantial steps to assert his independence. By acquiring half of Sony's music catalog, he disrupted the industry's balance of power, and his subsequent public feud with Sony and its then CEO, Tommy Mottola, suggested that he was willing to fight the industry's most powerful entities. Michael's public statements, in which he accused the industry of exploiting artists and even went as far as calling Mottola the devil, were bold moves that could have made him a target. His death, officially attributed to acute propofol intoxication, did little to quell the suspicions of those who believed that something far more nefarious was at play. The fact that Fahim Muhammad was involved with Michael Jackson during this tumultuous period adds an additional layer of intrigue. Fahim's subsequent role as Diddy's head of security, with alleged connections to law enforcement and the ability to make people and problems disappear, according to the lawsuit filed by Rodney Lil Rod Jones, paints a picture of someone deeply embedded in the mechanisms of power. It begs the question, was Fahim merely a security professional doing his job, or was he part of a larger network tasked with maintaining order within the industry's upper echelons? Now let's consider Kanye West's experience. Like Michael, Kanye has been an outspoken critic of the music and entertainment industry. His vocal confrontations with the industry and his erratic public behavior have often been framed by the media as signs of mental instability. However, Kanye's revelations about Harley Pasternak, his former personal trainer with a background in military intelligence, have led many to reevaluate the narrative. If Kanye's claims are to be believed, Pasternak attempted to have him institutionalized, effectively silencing him and removing him from public discourse. Kanye insinuated that had he complied with Pasternak's demands, he might have faced a fate similar to Michael Jackson's, suggesting that there are forces within the industry willing to go to extreme lengths to protect their interests. The connections between these stories, while not providing concrete proof of a conspiracy, suggest a disturbing pattern that is difficult to dismiss as mere coincidence. Michael Jackson and Kanye West are not just isolated cases, but part of a larger narrative involving high-profile artists who have challenged the industry's power dynamics. Their stories raise fundamental questions about the lengths to which those in power may go to maintain their control. Is there a system in place designed to manage, manipulate, and, when necessary, eliminate those who threaten the industry's interests? In the end, the truth behind Michael Jackson's death and the broader implications for the music industry may never be fully revealed. What we do know is that the entertainment world is a complex and often opaque environment where power dynamics play out in ways that are not always visible to the public eye. The resurfacing of these theories, fueled by Kanye West's recent revelations in the new lawsuit against Diddy, serves as a reminder of the dark undercurrents that flow beneath the glittering surface of fame and success. As fans and observers, we are left to piece together the fragments of information that have emerged over the years, questioning the narratives presented to us and considering the possibility that the reality of these situations is far more complex and more sinister than we might have imagined. The stories of Michael Jackson and Kanye West are not just tales of individual artists, but reflections of a larger struggle between creativity, power, and the unseen forces that seek to shape the world of entertainment. What do you think? Could Fahim Muhammad have played a role in Michael Jackson's death? Was Kanye West targeted in a similar fashion, only to narrowly escape a tragic fate? The debate is far from over, and as more details emerge, the public's curiosity and suspicion continue to grow. Share your thoughts in the comments.